She was living in a single room with 3 other individuals. One of them was a male, and the other 2, well, the other 2 were females. God only knows what they were up to in there. And furthermore, Susan, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to learn that all 4 of them habitually smoke marijuana cigarettes. Marijuana cigarettes. Marijuana cigarettes.
Choke to death. Oh, what's going on with the noise here? Here it is. Alright. So, what is going on there? I see. Let's turn it up to about here. Alright. I think we're good. We're on the radio, man. We're here. We're live. And I'm coughing. Whoa. Anyway, we'll start off like we have been, well, at least the last couple episodes. What is that? There it is. I figured it out. Would it be what it was like if it was supposed to be like what it was like? Well, no, we're going to find out on this stoner edition of Mountain High Time. I'm your host, DJ Ransom, the Freedomist, but you could just call me Ransom because I'm just a normal stoner, if there is such a thing as a normal stoner. I don't know. Let's find out. Anyway, let's check out some music. I've been going through all kinds of music, finding some really good jams. I don't normally listen to Christian rap, but I thought this one was pretty tight. The bars are fire, man. Smoke that spliff. Well, excuse me. I was smoking a laced bowl of some nice poof poof just a second ago. Still kind of choking on it. Anyway, let's check out this video here by Isaiah Robin. And as we do on 420 TV, now Mountain High Time, we're going to check out someone else's music before we get started with the weird headlines and news out there. If I could remember what I want to say about each thing, if I didn't get too stoned here on Mountain High Time. And I'd like to thank all 3 of y'all for showing up. CN77, would it be? Here we go.
They calling me controversial. I don't know why, I'm just telling the truth. Yeah. They're indoctrinating kids with lies. It's just evil in disguise. They say that it's love, but they lie. They say that they're girls, but they're guys. Or they say they have no gender. From guy sports to girls, well, they're winners. From now on, I identify as a Ninja Turtle. Where's Master Splinter? Somebody asked me, should they pray to Mary for intercession? Or pray to a rosary for a blessing? I'll answer truthfully. Here's the lesson. Look, first off, there's no queen in heaven. That's not biblical, it's a deception. We are all equal whenever we get caught up. And if the son is inside of you, then you pray straight to the Father. No done with the church lies. I'm done with you religious guys with no spiritual eyes. The word says the Lord will appear in his temple, so why you look at the sky instead of looking inside? But Isaiah, why do you rap? Jesus is not what hip-hop was made for. But my music is about thousands to the kingdom. Well, I guess I should stop though, cause you said so. Time and time again, I got people up in my DMs. Oh, comfortable in sin, trying to see if I'ma give in. Oh, I exposed the Masons, now they wanna say that I'm a Mason. Trying to come after a son of God, they don't even know their pawns for Satan. No, keep your peace, keep your patience, keep it love. That's what the Lord keeps telling me. Flip them off, cuss them out, you a thug. That's what the devil keeps yelling. See, it's a spiritual battle, but I brought my sword, got my armor, got my Lord. Yeah, I know that it's critical when every individual doesn't realize that Satan knows this time is short. You celebrating Halloween, but call it Hallelujah night. Complete buffoonery. You dress like a demon walking inside the church. You look like a fool to me. I don't dress up. Every day I'm a believer. I put on my garments of praise, then it's follow the leader. All these pagan holidays going around like a fever. When the worship of Ishtar turn to Easter. They telling me to be Christ-like, but they don't even know what Christ-like. I realized once I started reading my Bible that their Christ isn't even what Christ-like. Not even that, but it's not something that Christ-like. All this compromising isn't what Christ-like. This prosperity gospel where they don't bring up sin and repentance. The church probably got Christ-like. They calling me controversial. They calling me controversial. They calling me controversial. They calling me controversial. Jesus was controversial. Paul was controversial. Elijah was controversial. Yeah, telling the truth is controversial. Wait. Hold up. One more thing. Once saved, always saved is not a thing. I don't care about the scholar and his theology. God's a judging by the fruit, not by a degree. Too many lying pastors are top tier. Motivating speeches about your great life here. Look, we're supposed to be so comfortable. Why would the word say to work out your salvation with fear? Too many comfortable in their sins. Too many lies have been told to Christians. Look, the Lord has said to many, depart from me. That won't be to the world, that'll be Christians. And in the country with Sleepy Joe, they keep trying to hush you. Gas at an all-time high, how can I trust you? But honestly, he's teaching us a great tactic. Anything go wrong in your life, just blame Russia. They calling me controversial. They calling me controversial. They calling me controversial. They calling me controversial. Jesus was controversial. Paul was controversial. Elijah was controversial. Telling the truth is controversial. They calling me controversial. They calling me controversial. They calling me controversial. They calling me controversial. Jesus was controversial. Paul was controversial. Elijah was controversial. Telling the truth is controversial.
Yeah, that was pretty tight there from Isaiah Robin. I've been surfing around all kinds of music, you know, no criticism. Some music I just can't stand anymore because I know the people that are in the band or group or whatever are a bunch of weirdo commie socialist fucksticks. So it's hard to, you know, like get into their music and go, Mom, I'm a Green Day fan. While the guy constantly talks shit and trashes everything sensible and Americans in general. You remember the guy. And you know what's funny is I liked it back then and I thought, you know what? I don't want to be an American idiot. And supposedly he didn't, but you know, he kind of became the idea of an American idiot. Idiot. I'm a stoner. I got an excuse. I didn't even graduate high school. I got excuses up the ass. Not literally. Figuratively. Up in there. Anyway. Welcome to Monday Night Mountain High Time. I think Monday night's when I'm gonna, you know, go on and do my shows. It just seems like it just flows with Mountain High Time. And I ain't doing shit on Monday night. Might as well get stoned and go over the headlines with some of my favorite people. YOLO, Tim, James, CN, anybody else? Let's check out some of the headlines. They're pretty funny, I think. You're high up the ass? All right then. That sounds like a personal journey. Anyway, somewhere around here I got the headlines here. Here we are. Putin accused of sending serial killers and a cannibal to fight his war. That bastard. But, you know, if, you know, we got rules here in the supposed constitutional republic we live in, but, you know, think about that. Serial killers, cannibals into war. Huh. Sounds like a fitting end. And, those people chose that lifestyle. But speaking of cannibals, maybe we should send this CEO of, what is it, Beyond Meat? You know that fake meat shit? That nasty... Anyway, let's check it out. Fayetteville, Arkansas. A food company executive was arrested on a pair of charges after reportedly biting a man's nose in a parking garage in Fayetteville on Saturday night. Maybe we should just send this fucker, like he should just pay. We should make him pay like a tax, like 40, 50 grand. No, that's nothing to them. How about 40 or 50 million to go to like disaster relief or some other actual noble cause where the money people, give the money to the people that need it, but whatever. That never happens. Not really. Anyway, Putin accused of sending serial killers and cannibals into war. Maybe we should send this Beyond Meat COO. He's a chief operations officer of some shit like that. I forgot what a COO is. Maybe he ate too much of that fake meat and he just went nuts and he decided, you know what? I'm going to take a bite out of this mofo. Anyway, hold on. Let me fix my browser here. What do you guys think? Should we send cannibals into war? I mean, isn't that a war crime to, eat people or some shit? I'm just saying. Sounds kind of suspect to me. Let me pop out this chat so I can see it while I'm looking at the headlines here. That's crazy shit indeed. Let's see here. I don't need this page. No, not that. Wrong button. Here we are. Sweet. I could turn that shit off. There's been some crazy shit everywhere. You noticed the internet feed on this side of the planet is completely one-sided about a war. When does war only go one-sided? But evidently that's how they're trying to program people now. It's like, oh no, it's the Ukrainians. They're not Nazis. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That's just a isolated incident. But it's not really. It's the same thing when cops fuck up people on the street and abuse citizens and, kill people when it was unnecessary, which happens quite often. And it usually has nothing to do with race. Rather, some people get a big head when they got a uniform. And they want to kill people. And they know they're allowed. And, the government's going to back them up. Every time. No matter what they did. Unless it's just racist. Otherwise, they won't get prosecuted. Anyway, back to these cannibal people. A Nazi shot up his old school in Russia? What the fuck? Those damn Nazis. There's a lot of them out there, though. That's not a conspiracy theory. But it's just weird who this New World's decided to call fascist or who they've decided to call Nazi are generally the people and the families that, flew over or got in a boat and took off, went over there to them European parts and did a D-Day. I don't know. What was that in history? I think it was World War II, right? When all these families that are now being called Nazis went over there and killed the Nazis. But don't pay attention to history. That's just an inconvenient truth. You know what I'm saying? It's inconvenient. Anyway, I'm not even against this idea, except for I would think that serial killers, well, no offense to any professional soldier, but they, if they've been deployed somewhere several times in a war zone, they're most likely serial killers. I'm not saying they're bad people, but, they're serial killers. These people are fucksticks, most likely, that are in the prison that are those weird, it rubs the lotion on the skin or it gets the hose again type serial killer motherfuckers. Or like Dahmer, no, it's just gonna eat them, Speaking of cannibalism, I don't think that's a good idea. But like I said, maybe we should send this, Beyond Meat COO with this nasty meat substance over there, and he could help. Russia moves to formally annex swaths of Ukraine, and without sounding like Russian propaganda, if you just read a little bit of history, you'll realize like these areas are the central area where the Russian culture came from for the last 900 fucking years. But whatever, just forget about that, and just put your little Ukraine flag on and pretend like they didn't fight on the side of the Nazis in World War II when they changed sides against Russia. But you're supposed to forget history for some reason and ignore it as long as it goes along with the current thing or whatever. So put your little flag on, your little blue and yellow flag, because that makes you cool, dude, because you're supporting the newest thing. Actually, I don't know, it's like 10, 15 years ago, people, when they were anti-war, were against all of these wars of these weird fucksticks. And I'm including Putin and all of them. They're all making money off of these wars. They always do. That's just part of reality. What was I even reading there? Oh, yeah. They're saying they're going to do it, legally. We'll just annex it. We'll have some elections. They'll say what we want them to say, or we'll shoot them. No, I don't know. Maybe they will let them have free elections there, but there hasn't been really a good track record of that between the Russians or the Ukrainians. Actually, in recent times, the Ukrainians could be compared to Nazis banning television stations, political opponents, and, basically going door to door, finding people that said something bad about them on social media. That parallels nothing with the Nazi party there in Germany, or even the Stasi later in Germany. That's just history. Of course it parallels. It's the exact same shit. It's just, it's okay when we do it. Anyway, let's move on. Most adults should be screened for anxiety. U.S. panel recommends. So you can get out, you can get your pills, you can get on some new pharma because you're, got anxiety. I keep seeing these. They keep saying that everybody is depressed. Well, maybe it's because all the bullshit. I don't know. You think? Or maybe it's just, people like being depressed. I don't know. Nearly 1 in 10 American adults, 1 in 5 teens report having depression. I would think maybe they should get out, maybe walk in some nature, smoke a doobie. Smoke a doobie. Get out there. If you like people, meet people. If you don't like people, go away from them. I think that's what you should all do. Just get some nature. Even if it's just opening the window and looking in your yard. This is some crazy stuff. Some of these are last week before. I just thought they were, notable. This guy, this crazy fuck, he thought he was a white extremist. So he ran him over with his car before the poor kid could get his mom to come pick him up. Because he's just a doofy ass teen. And I don't even think he was like a MAGA kid. And that's what they want to try. But he straight up told the police that he ran him over on purpose. Because he was a extremist. Oh my God. So they have millions of retards out there. And I'm saying that because, in the classical definition of the word, being not at the same level as the other people of the same age groups and intelligence groups really believe that half the country is just terrorists, as George Bush put it when he tried to convince everybody that Americans were terrorists, right there in the Patriot Act and the NDAA, which basically just deals with Americans and treats them like enemies in their own country. But I digress. This poor kid just got ran over because he was Republican extremist group. It's not funny. So the kid calls his mom, says some crazy mofo is trying to run me over, and before she could pick him up, he was dead. He got run over. And for you all you guys that are UFO fans, evidently they're skyrocketing over the Ukraine. It might have something to do with all of the military presences in the area. I'm not saying they're not UFOs, because people obviously just don't even know what the fuck they are. And they may never know. But I would say most of what people are seeing right about now in an active war zone is probably UAVs and, other technologies being used in the war. Because that's what's going on. It's a war that's going to branch out through Europe. It's pretty obvious at this point. Everybody's put their money and their old weapons in on it. It seems like a controlled burn of Europe, basically. I don't really see Russia getting hurt by this war. The paper does not specifically address the war. Well, of course it doesn't, because then it wouldn't sound all cool with the UFO part. But maybe there are aliens showing up just going, hey, look at these dumb fuck sticks blowing each other up. Never know. It could be. Let's check out the chat, see what's going on in there. What's up, Steffers J? Yeah. Did you see? I'm going to get to it, but if you know who's the Aslov, or however you pronounce that, the guys that were going around with openly displaying pro-neo-Nazi stuff, they got a nice trip to the White House. I could find some new cool stuff, which would fit in with recent discoveries that, like the H3 content and the space diamond. Some trippy stuff going on in the science world. And, on the moon and on Mars, they can just go directly to the deposits when these rocks hit, with less, time of erosion and all this other stuff. Although Mars does have a slight amount of wind erosion, things probably erode slower than here on Earth with the water. Yay. Anyway, NASA Mars lander captures strikes by 4 incoming rocks. So maybe they'll go check them out, maybe they won't. But they know that they hit, so they can find out where and go check them out. And they're becoming more and more every day open to just telling the public that at least microbial life was on Mars. And I think that's how they're going to do a soft disclosure first, is by telling everybody that, yeah, there's microbes and, little bacteriums and maybe even fungi out in space on objects and on other planets. The question is it from the same set of DNA that created us? Is it the same everywhere? Or is it evolving different on different spots randomly by itself, which seems less plausible than having a similar source? But we'll find out. Maybe someday. Or they'll just keep milking everybody until they're old and then, capture a new generation with all these almost discoveries. And there was something here, but it's not there anymore. Oh, yeah. More of this. I forgot about this. Water and asteroid dust offers clues to life on Earth. Like, they gonna figure it out, according to them. But I doubt it. But it's cool. They get these samples of stuff from different places, so they can make new discoveries. Whether or not they will share those discoveries, if they're, about extraterrestrial life is probably another discussion. Would they? Who knows? I don't think so. What's up, Alexander the Ganja Shaman? You made it just in time. And it's time for me to take another hit of my super duper expialidocious. If I don't choke myself. Hey, that kind of rhymed, man. Drinking my coffee here. Oh, shit. I bumped the mic. I second that. You can triple that and quadruple it too. It's time to take a hit. This is Mountain High time. This ain't one of those serious, news shows. I'm just sitting here getting high, looking at the articles I was tripping on, trying to remember what the fuck I was going to say to you guys. So how about that? Anyway, the Perseverance rover is finding more and more organic matter on Mars. Kind of goes to the point what I'm telling you. They're going to give a soft disclosure first, and then all of a sudden we got shit flying around in the skies, and they're like, holy shit, it's fucking invasion day. We need to draft the children to fight the aliens, but stay in your house for the COVID. And wear your diaper. You got to put that on. That's an essential gear to survive the alien invasion. It's that face diaper. What's up, Captain Trips? What's it be? Scientists hail new era in the search for life on Mars as number of ancient lakes vastly underestimated, meaning there was water in more places for biological or maybe more complex life to evolve or co-evolve if we had the same source that created life on Earth, maybe, if you believe in that stuff. Fauci, this is according to Zero Hedge, and I must give a disclaimer for the YouTube Stasi who are most doubtedly anticipating my new show, even though I don't have that many subs. They really got a big boner hard on to delete my shit and ban everything and say I'm a bully. But I'm not a bully. I'm just pointing out what I'm noticing here. Anyway, this is according to Zero Hedge. Not me, not 420 TV, Zero Hedge YouTube. It's an article. It's covered by the Fair Use Act. I'm just reading it, so fuck off, you fucksticks. And tonight's secret word on Mountain High Time is fucksticks, because they're everywhere. Fauci misled Congress about gain of function research, but protected by the Biden administration. Former CDC chief says, so it's this guy, not us, not us over here at Mountain High Time saying that. We're just reporting on it. We're just saying what he said. At this point, it's hearsay, but maybe it ain't. You know what I'm saying? In other words, it's becoming more and more likely, judging by the headlines' predictions, that they are going to also soft disclose that this was a designer virus, or that at least designer viruses could be accidentally let into the public by any number of labs around the world. But that's according to the CDC chief, former dude, like maybe he just wanted some airtime or some shit. I don't know. Lancet report claiming that this disease, I don't want to say it too many times because I feel like the algorithm still picks it up as a red flag word that they need to check my speech about. Whatever. I'm being sarcastic, but not really. Anyway, the disease could have came from, hey, I'm not going to say it. This is Yahoo News. What the? Is it me? Or was I around like 3 channels ago talking about this shit? I don't know. It's like deja vu for this stoner. I thought we already established this in late 2020. Pretty much, but whatever. Lancet report claiming that disease, the one we're talking about, could have come from a beep, beep. It's met with an uproar because people are mad They don't want to hear that, especially when we were pointing the fingers at other labs. The idea that it still came from a lab, but maybe one of our labs isn't going over well on people. So if you want to check out this lab about this topic, or this topic about this lab, check it out on Yahoo News. Who knew? Anyway, don't touch foreigners to reduce monkeypox risk, according to the China health official. Excuse me, had to use the cough button. Anyway, isn't that kind of messed up? Or what do you think would happen if the government here in the U.S. told the American people this? Don't touch foreigners to reduce monkeypox risk. Well, they would probably say it was one of those fancy words they use. What is it, homophobic or xenophobic, or both of them in this case? Yeah, they probably wouldn't tell us that. Don't touch the foreigners. You know what? I'm betting money that if you don't know the foreigner personally, they probably don't want to be touched by you anyway. I'm just guessing, because, you know, when I'm a foreigner in another country, the last thing I want is for that country's people to come up and pet me like I'm a zoo animal. So they probably didn't need to warn anyone of that, unless I'm misunderstanding the Chinese culture. And if that's racist, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be. It was totally ignorant. But for educational purposes, to all the Chinese people that may or may not listen, probably none. But anyway, even if they did, I would probably suggest, when in America, don't touch foreigners, because it's weird and rude, and you don't even know them. You know what I'm saying? And nobody that I know of wants to be fondled by people they don't know. I don't know. No brainer here. Kind of weird, though. What a weird headline to even come across. Biden says U.S. forces would, not or wouldn't, but would defend the Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion. But I don't believe him. And the reason I don't is because I think he's been compromised by China on numerous occasions involving his son. After all, he's the big guy. And not to mention, when Obama was in office, we pulled the fleet out of the Strait of Taiwan that we've had there since the early 50s. So most likely, if China invaded Taiwan, we wouldn't do a fucking thing. I think it would be like when our only colony the U.S. has, to my knowledge, Liberia in Africa, where some of the African Americans went after the Emancipation Proclamation. They went to Africa and they founded a nation called Liberia, meaning liberty, and they named the capital Monrovia. Kind of sounds like one of our president's names. Just saying, that Monroe guy. But anyway, whenever racial and ethnic things changed in Africa, and a different kind of African came into the Liberian area, well, let's just say they started ethnically cleansing those with American last names. And you know what the United States did to protect or help out our only colony we ever had? Well, we flew in off the aircraft carrier, a couple of helicopters, picked everybody up at the embassy and said, "Sayonara, you're fucked. Sorry, we gotta go." And we left them hanging. And I think this will turn out the same way. When China invades Taiwan, the United States ain't gonna do shit. We're just gonna let them have it, because everything that we've done in recent history leads me to believe, at least, that we've already given up on Taiwan and the idea of Taiwan. And not only that, they might have given up on the idea of being the leaders of the New World Order or the liberal world order, and I believe China is a big contender to take over every area of that new world order. Not because they could win in a war, but just because a bunch of scumbag World Economic Forum, Bilderberg, Davos Group, douchebag, fucksticks, want it to be that way. But I digress. Let's move on. Biden rebukes Russia's outrageous Ukraine escalation. Says U.S. not seeking a new Cold War, but we keep saying stuff. But not really. Because I don't think we're going to put American troops on the ground in this conflict. This seems to be just another in a long list of proxy wars between the United States and Russia, but now it's NATO and some UN people and, World Economic Forums and all those people have a hand in this, shutting down the food production for, well, it looks like Europe, because that's where all the food was being grown, as you know, on this channel. I'm sure you know that. They just shut it down with a war. Why not? It's easy enough. Starve the people out. Maybe invite some Nazis to the White House. Pretend like you're calling everybody else fascists and Nazis while you openly mock them by meeting people that self-describe as neo-Nazis to the White House. And they're all like, hey, I'm Shifty Schiff from the Democrats. Welcome to the White House. We don't want to ask any questions about that stuff, And not to mention, don't forget the CIA funded Nazi families in the Ukraine well after World War II, because they became our assets in the Cold War against Russia. So that's why, once again, Americans sided with Nazis. And I don't mean, the citizen American. I mean the black budget, bullshit, PSYOP, Operation Gladio, Operation Northwoods type bullshit that they were pulling all over the world. Operations not done in the public eye. But, they wait 20 or 30 years and say, oh, yeah, we did that. It's no big deal. That's just how it was back then. Don't worry about it. We don't do that now. We don't fake stuff now. It's like you're supposed to forget about Operation Mockingbird and the fact that they had embedded CIA people at all the news networks. And this came out in congressional hearings a long time ago. You think they just stopped doing it? Probably not. You should look into Anderson Cooper and what's the other guy's name? Wolf Blitzer. He might work for a different intel agency, but he still is up there in the news being the voice of reason. The voice of reason. Let's get into some weird science stuff here. Geoengineering could destabilize tropical peat soils. So the article here is about the Earth warming up at an increasing rate, allegedly. And, basically it's a long, I'm going to skip it. We're not even going to do the science shit. Because if you want to, you could go to this phys.org and read the headline right there. Just type it in. Geoengineering could destabilize tropical peat soils. Basically, they go and they talk about their little process that they got to save the planet, but it just doesn't, convert enough CO2. So it's another failed green experiment on how to choke us out and get rid of plant food from our environment. Whatever. Parts of the many coastal cities are sinking. That's right, sinking as far as with the earth, tectonic plates, such like that. Does that sound like a dumb American? Well, such like that. Anyway, parts of many coastal cities are sinking faster than the sea is rising. Well, part of that is because the sea hasn't been rising. So that might be part of it. I don't know. I'm just saying. Anyway, just proving that, I wonder, though, if some of these cities sink a little bit more, will they be going, oh, shit, it's the global warming. The sea has risen. Look, here's proof. And then, you can go check the ocean where you live, and it's the same as it's been for the last 400 years, at least, when they were putting the little rocks down there to see when the tide went out and mark it. It's still the same. But you're supposed to, not notice that or buy into the new story. The storia. It's all bullshit. Why do you like music? Why do you like it? Science weighs in. Have you ever wondered why you love a particular song or genre of music? The answer may lie in your personality, although other factors also play a role. Researchers say, well, I don't need to know that. Of course it does. Different people like different musics. Plus, if they come from different eras, they know how to tolerate other kinds of music. I'm Gen X. I can listen to rap. I can listen to country. I can listen to all those different genres of a rock, except for the really gay ones they play in the elevator and the, humpy ones. I guess that's cool for people back in, the 80s that were listening to that panty dropping music. Never got into that stuff. I like the techno. Bang, 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 bang. Just kidding. That was a joke. You guys get it. Let me see here. What else we got? We got lots of more stuff. Oh, by the way, I'll put the link in the description. But I'm like a distributor now, I guess, of this pure CBD action. It's like got all of the cannabis stuff in it.
What would it feel like?
But I'm not even going to make you watch the commercial because, I'm not getting paid or some shit. But anyway, this is some cool stuff here.
To have your health and wellness in balance. People everywhere.
Yeah. Basically, they talk about, how your cannabinoid system uses all of these things to regulate stuff and helps with your gut fauna so you can sleep good. And you'll be wanting the right foods because, you're healthy. So back to this. I was thinking, I don't know why they're getting mad about this, because you remember the Ukrainians were training and helping us invade Afghanistan and Iraq. Matter of fact, they did a bunch of training in Iraq and how to invade a country. So I think it's, ironic that the area that they're calling their country, which is basically like Texas broke away from the United States. The only difference being Texas used to be a country on its own already. The Ukraine wasn't. It used to be part of Poland until they started redesigning the maps during World War I and II, and then you got today's Ukraine, which used to be part of the Soviet Union. Not anymore, but it looks like it will be again, just not under that flag. So, I'm not allowed to read this one, but you guys read that headline right there. I'll put this link right in the chat room so you guys can check it out. Boom. There it is. We'll skip past that one. Some of Europe's oldest known, this is really a funny scientific paper right here, or not the paper, the article, but the papers is referring to and what it's talking about, because this is the truth about the whole world. I mean, in a nutshell. This particular one is talking about Neanderthals, but we're a hybrid species and people won't, face that. It's not taught at school. Instead, they try to use the racial skin tone separation tactic, I guess you want to call it, where they use people's ethnicities, skin tones, and other shit like that. When it's kind of irrelevant because, Caucasians come in all shades. People in India are near, as dark as you could get, they're still Caucasians. And you could go find the whiteyest whitey, and he's a Caucasian. And this whole article right here is basically talking about the simple truth of human history, is that mankind, otherwise known as humans, in its different forms, and I want to put to you that it will be the same in space. If we ever actually get into space and we find alien civilizations out there, I would almost guarantee you that human beings will try to either kill it or fuck it then kill it, or kill it and then fuck it, depending on your weirdness. But humans are fucked up, and we know that. So, anyway, that wasn't even my point. They are fucked up. But the point being, they like to fuck. They will fuck anything. That's just something that comes along with humans for some reason. We've seen it. We know it. Not the normal people, they don't. But if someone was another human, then why not? I mean, of course they would want to fuck them. That's how civilization works now. New women, new men, women and men finding new people to hook up with. And it happens daily. And it's always happened. And that's why the whole idea of race is nonsense. And always has been. We're an admixture species of many different species, evidently. We got Neanderthal, we got Denisovans, we got possibly that little hobbit thing, and there's a ghost species in Africa they don't want to name. I don't know if that's because of, political reasons or whatever you call that. But anyway, this one's funny. So let's get into this article. Some of Europe's oldest known modern humans are distinctly related to Native Americans. That's right. The people that inhabit the Americas before the colonization of Europe happened. And if you know about the Solutrean hypothesis and possibly where some of the Clovis people came from, or the red paint people, or different stuff like that, you know that the history is not what they tell you it is. It seems that the Americas have been colonized in waves of human beings going back a really long time. And the idea that people didn't come from boats from either side of the oceans, Atlantic or Pacific, sounds ridiculous when the oldest DNA in the United States can be tracked back to a Pacific Islander. Well, how the fuck do you think that DNA got in the interior of the United States in a Native American person? It's because people on boats came over and occupied the land, meaning all kinds of people came. There's, anecdotal kind of evidence that maybe the Chinese came even later, and stories of Vikings we know are true because, we found their little town that they made, and we know that people were coming here even before colonization. But in this article, it's talking about ancient Europeans, are related to Native Americans, ironically, because it explains the different waves of people moving all over the planet and fucking as they go. Anyway, here, check it out. 45,000 years ago, some of the first modern humans to call Europe home lived in around Bulgaria's Bacho Kiro cave. They created ornaments like beads and pendants of cave bear teeth. They fashioned stone and bone tools and colored them with red ochre. And this is very important with a lot of cultures, both in the Americas and in Europe, and I would say probably Asia and the Middle East. They hunted, butchered, and feasted on local animals. Artifacts of this lifestyle were left scattered in the cave, but these ancient humans left little evidence about themselves. Just a single tooth and a few tiny bits of bone survived to present day, yet those fragments contain enough genetic material that scientists have now recreated some of the human stories, revealing surprising information about both ancestry and their descendants. Two genetic sequence studies
published in different journals this week have sketched out a family trees of Europe's earliest known modern humans, three 45,000-year-old individuals from Bacho Kiro Cave, and one similarly aged skull from the Chechen hillside known as Zlakche Kun, Golden Horse. Only the Bacho Kiro individuals have living descendants, and they're found in a surprising place in East Asia, boom, and the Americas, meaning that people from Europe 45,000 years ago began the long track of fucking and colonizing until they made it all the way to the Americas. How about that? Isn't that a neat story? The ancient human form, both ancient European sites do share common ancestral strain, a healthy dose of Neanderthal DNA. That's right, Native Americans, Asians, and Europeans all share about 3 to 5% Neanderthal DNA, an extinct human on a different branch of the supposed evolutionary tree, another species that we obviously mated with on many occasions. So maybe it was like, when humans met Neanderthal, they already knew they could trade women and mix up the DNA. It was a common practice not only with humans, but with Neanderthal. Anyway, evidence seems to show that when modern humans moved into Europe, they commingled with Neanderthal. That's right, they were getting their groove on. Longer and later than commonly believed, meaning it wasn't just a one-off midnight rendezvous where some dude got lucky. It was a repeated and constant mix of genetic material, and most likely Denisovan and possibly the Hobbit creature were already doing the same thing. And we kind of know that the Cro-Magnon man split up and went into different places because his DNA is there. Even in sub-Saharan Africa, they have another human that has contributed by getting down, getting funky together with ancient humans of another species, making what we call the Homo sapien sapien of today. And that's a lot of different species. But anyway, in 2015, scientists working in the Bulgarian cave found a human fossil along with thousands of bones from butchered animals and an assemblage of Paleolithic artifacts. A single molar stood out as an unmistakably human, but the rest of the bones were broken into bits, and they had to be identified as human by using protein mass spectrometry, which can spot unique human protein sequences not found in bones of other species. The human bone were then radiocarbon dated to between 42,580 years and 45,930 years before the present. Researchers also produced tiny bits of tooth and bone powder from which they could extract DNA and sequence the genomes of 3 different individuals who once called the cave home. And it goes on, talking about, more and more. We've been humping and spreading all over. But everybody constantly obsesses about this idea of skin tone race, when really we're just a hybrid species making it. And with this grand solar minimum coming in, new, environments for this type of human, we get to experience what happened about 42,000 years ago when the magnetic field collapsed, similar to what's going on now, and people disappeared. Those other purebred species, not us, they gone. We don't know why. But we do know there was a whole lot of fucking going on. Because here we are. Apple to make iPhone 14 in India in a shift away from China. So you think that might piss China off? I don't know. They probably stole all of their secrets that they had to have. So they're probably all in the hands of the Chinese communist government. So why not? At least they won't be using slave labor? Big question mark? You know, like they were doing? Hey, Raven Wolf. Jag gulligen volk. I am as hungry as a wolf. Just kidding. That looks like it's gonna suck for people in Florida. I don't know if any of you guys live in Florida, but yikes. Ian coming in.
If you have even one
Oh no, it's a
migraine day a
commercial. I hate when that happens. Let's just turn that off. We don't need it. We know the hurricane's coming. Get some water. Prepare for the electricity going out. Here, and I wanted to show you guys this. And don't worry about it. This is completely normal. Don't have any ideas about anything.
I got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I want more.
I better stop that. I don't even know. Is that legal to show? It's on TikTok. I'm just replaying it from this guy right here that's showing it. Yeah. I'm going to have to mute that, but... So, I just want to point out that some of these kids look a little terrified, if you ask me. Like, this baby is not too happy. This baby looks, tripped out. Like they hand a baby to this stranger. And no offense to anyone, but I'd never hand my baby to a complete fucking stranger. Sorry. Actually, there's one about my size right there. Here's a total stranger wearing a really obnoxious outfit. Kid's crying immediately. And then here we go. Here. Thank you. But I think the point was about this first part here. Oh, we don't want to do that. Right here. It's not that hard to redirect a child's attention to another area. I'm just saying. Remember that song I just played at the beginning? That's crazy. It seems to line up with that. That's kind of weird stuff. Anyway, if you guys are sub to the Mayak channel, we're going to be live streaming the Mayak show also on Mayak now. So you can watch it on Mayak, you can watch it on Mountain High Time, you can watch it on Rumble, you can watch it on Twitch, and supposedly some other ones too. Coast Guard spots Chinese Russian naval ships off Alaska. Oh no. Guess what? They're out there all the time. I don't, just because I seen the headline of this and I was thinking, wow, they really try to scare the fuck out of people. Oh my God. We're near war with Russia. But you know what? The truth is we probably really are. We're probably closer to nuclear war than we ever have been. And I mean closer to it than even back in the Kennedy days and the Cuban Missile Crisis in the early 60s. Because they're resetting. And in order to reset a civilization, you have to reset it all. You got to reset the whole thing. We got to blow up all this old shit. In other news, here's the only Hollywood shit I'm covering. Look, New Mexico District Attorney may charge Alec Baldwin in Rust shooting after all. Well, he's already famous. Yeah, you saw them all the time. Something completely normal as far as my ignorant life, Anyway, here's some nice Azov, or however you say that, guys. How you say it? Azov. Anyway, look at this right here. These guys. Aw, isn't that cute? Yeah, it was Adam Shifty Shift. He is the guy. Everybody on the Twitterverse and Facebook with their fake weird, flags from the Ukraine, like they ever even cared before the news told them, hey, this is the new thing. This is the new thing. And these are heroes. Oh, he's even got that little patch right there, doesn't he? These guys. Anyway, on to some other news. I don't think I got this out here yet. All right, so let's get into some futuristic, weird other news on a different trip on my other tab and see where that goes. But actually, I had a video for you guys to watch first that I got stoned and made, so don't judge me. Don't judge me. Where is it? Video file. Here we go. Let's add this weird video that I made earlier. Plus, you guys can listen to the music I put on there from yet another person. And if I remember, I'll put their links in the tab. If my computer will respond. Here we go. Here it is.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson. Tonight, finally a happy story for once. Outbursts of irrepressible joy erupted throughout the exclusive island community of Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts last night. For hundreds of years, Martha's Vineyard had suffered from the soul-crushing effects of its own whiteness. Island residents understood there was only one cure. They badly needed diversity. In fact, they often said so. But despite their very best efforts over many years, diversity never came to Martha's Vineyard. It was tragic. Imagine an 18th century British frigate adrift on the high seas with no limes. Sailors slowly going mad, convulsing, dying excruciating deaths from scurvy. That was Martha's Vineyard. Except it wasn't lime juice they lacked. They had plenty of that because you can't make a gin and tonic without it. What Martha's Vineyard lacked was diversity, which is to say strength. Martha's Vineyard was a very weak place. As of yesterday morning, that island was 89% white, monochromatic, and utterly homogenous. Nearly everybody there was a rich Democrat. 80% voted for Joe Biden. The median home price was over $1 million. And then, in a single blessed moment, everything changed. Relief arrived from an unlikely source. Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, having made his own state a paradise, decided to help other states desperately in need. So yesterday, DeSantis sent 50 illegal aliens, most of them from Venezuela, to the Martha's Vineyard airport. They traveled from San Antonio to the Florida Panhandle and finally to their new home on Martha's Vineyard. CBS Boston reports that after landing, the group wandered about 3.5 miles from the airport into town, thereby instantly improving it. You can imagine the unrestrained jubilation on Martha's Vineyard tonight. Long-suffering islanders finally rescued from their own oppressive whiteness. In fact, let's go there now to check in on the celebrations. Well, that's not expected. Obviously, there's been a mistake. Now, our producers are telling us there are no technical problems. That is, in fact, a live shot from Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts, right now. But where were the weeping, joyful crowds? Where was the champagne and the ticker tape? We expected Times Square on VJ Day. What we got was a cemetery at midnight. What? But maybe it's not so confusing. Maybe things aren't as they seem. Our first clue is Barack Obama. Barack Obama is a part-time resident of Martha's Vineyard. Obama is also, of course, as you know, the country's greatest proponent of diversity. For years, Obama earnestly told us that immigrants were better than Americans. They were holy. They make our country strong. America is and always has been a nation of immigrants. Throughout our history, immigrants have come to our shores in wave after wave, from every corner of the globe. Every one of us, unless we're Native American, has an ancestor who was born somewhere else. That's what makes America special. That's what makes us strong. The basic idea of welcoming immigrants to our shores is central to our way of life. It is in our DNA. So that was basically the whole presidency right there for 8 years. Obama hectoring us about diversity. But he didn't just talk about it. He spent his 2 years in office making certain that places like Des Moines, Iowa, and Portland, Maine became much less white than they previously had been, because as he so often told us, whiteness is bad. It's a disease. So we recall being a little confused when we read that Barack Obama had spent $12 million to buy an 8-bathroom oceanfront property on Martha's Vineyard, which is one of the whitest places on earth. Really, Martha's Vineyard? Why not Baltimore or Gary, Indiana? Is there really no real estate left in Detroit for the Obama family compound? There's got to be. What's going on here? We didn't know. And then in 2019, Michelle Obama explained it to us. Listen to this.
We grew up in the period, as I write, called white flight. That is, families like ours, upstanding families like ours, you know, who were doing everything we were supposed to do and better. As we moved in, white folks moved out. because they were afraid of what our families represented. And I always stop there when I talk about this out in the world because, I want to remind white folks that y'all were running from us, and you're still running because we're no different than the immigrant families that are moving in, the families in Pilsen, the families that are coming from other places to try to do better. And so, yeah, I feel a sense of injustice.
So there she was, reminding white folks who badly needed reminding that the Obamas are, quote, no different from the immigrant families moving in because white people hate them too. They're still running, as she just said. So that explained it to us. The Obamas were in fact despised immigrants. So when they moved to a $12 million seaside compound in Martha's Vineyard, the point is not to live in luxury with other rich people. No, obviously, the point is to diversify Martha's Vineyard, to strike a blow for justice. It made sense to us and we felt better. But then last night happened, and we started to rethink our assumptions about the Obamas, about a lot of things. Because a plane load of highly diverse immigrants arrived on Martha's Vineyard to join the Obamas, but the Obamas didn't welcome them. There was not a word from Barack or Michelle Obama. Barack wasn't waiting at the airport to greet the diversifiers with flowers. He didn't issue a statement of congratulations. He didn't invite a single Venezuelan to his home. How come? Could it be that Barack Obama isn't really, actually, in real life, in favor of diversity at all? Could it be that Barack Obama strongly prefers blonde SoulCycle moms in Lululemon to sweaty third-world campesinos in dirty work pants? Could it be? We can't say. But we can tell you that if you want to find out what people really think, go ahead and ignore what they say and watch how they live. And by that measure, the one that matters, Barack and Michelle Obama are every bit as bigoted as any board member at any restricted country club in the Deep South, assuming those still exist. Those people? They're not dating my daughter, I can tell you that. So in other words, we learned this week that Barack Obama really is a racist, and not in the way you've always assumed. Obama may hate white people, he certainly seems to, but he also demands to live around them, and only them. But the Obamas, to be fair, are not alone in this. His friends at the news networks in Washington, New York, and Los Angeles feel exactly the same way because they're exactly the same sort of people. CNN, for example, spent the day interviewing people connected in some way to Martha's Vineyard. Turns out that precisely none of them were excited about the plane load of Venezuelans. One of them, the state rep for the island, even blamed this show for the sudden blessed surge in diversity. Watch this.
Ron DeSantis and Republicans might want to play political games with people's lives. I believe that's incredibly inhumane to be using women and children and families as a political pawn that you can then not talk about on Tucker Carlson and pretend to be tough on immigration.
Wow. So see if you can follow the argument here. When penniless illegal aliens show up in Brownsville, Texas, one of the poorest cities in the United States, they are noble strivers. They're looking for a better life in this country, and we applaud them. Good luck in Brownsville, newly arrived immigrants. But when these very same people jump the moat and get a free flight to Martha's Vineyard, it's something else entirely. It is, as the state rep just told you, quote, playing political games with people's lives. Because it's dangerous. These immigrants could wander into a clam bake by accident, or worse, much worse. Earlier today, CNN anchor John Berman, who's got fired, by the way, this morning, John Berman interviewed noted filmmaker Ken Burns. Burns is famous, but sad, exactly the kind of middle-aged prestige hound who spends an awful lot of time looming around Martha's Vineyard looking for other famous people. Burns has a new film out that blames the United States, of all countries on Earth, for the Holocaust. Now that the World War II generation has passed, Ken Burns can do that. There's no chance angry veterans will show up at his house and beat him with their canes for besmirching the memory of their closest friends who died in their early 20s fighting the Nazis. So Ken Burns can say whatever he wants, and they will believe him. So this morning, Burns played the role of Holocaust expert on CNN. And you know what Ken Burns has discovered? Ken Burns has discovered that Ron DeSantis sending illegal aliens to Martha's Vineyard is pretty much exactly what Hitler did. Pretty much exactly. Watch this.
All of your documentaries are about history, but all of them also make you think about where we are now. And we woke up to the news this morning that Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida sent 2 plane loads of migrants to Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Massachusetts, including kids and whatnot. And I'm not saying this is not a one-for-one. This is not a parallel here in any way. But it does address some of the same themes
This is the coming straight out of the authoritarian playbook. This is what's so disturbing about DeSantis, is to use human beings, to weaponize human beings for a political purpose. Ooh, you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? It's literally just like the Holocaust. Edgartown is Dachau, Oak Bluffs is Treblinka. The horrors, this is genocide. And it may be, but of course everything is relative. Martha's Vineyard may be a modern-day death camp, but compared to where illegal aliens usually go, it doesn't look that bad. Let's compare this for fun. On your screen, you will see images recently shot in America's border towns, which are now completely overrun under Joe Biden's immigration policy. You will notice, if you look carefully, chaos, violence, and filth. Okay. Now we will take you to Martha's Vineyard. It's hellish, perhaps, but in a very different way. Families eating together on balconies overlooking the water, women doing their shopping in a quaint little town on bicycles, couples strolling along the boardwalk, sailboats. Doesn't look that bad. But that's exactly the problem, the media told us today. Martha's Vineyard may seem like one of the richest places on the planet, but somehow, there aren't enough social services there. It's bereft of social services, unlike Brownsville. As CBS News put it, quote, Martha's Vineyard is not an urban metropolitan area with a robust social services infrastructure. There's no Justice Department immigration court where the migrants can attend asylum hearings. There's no ICE field office where migrants can check in. Now. But you see, Martha's Vineyard is in, quote, an urban area with a, quote, robust social services infrastructure that other people get to deal with. And honestly, that's true. And it's kind of the whole idea. That's why DeSantis sent the illegal aliens to Martha's Vineyard. People who make and advocate for certain policies should at some point have to live with those policies. But until now, they haven't had to. Bill Gates goes to Martha's Vineyard. So does Oprah, James Taylor, Spike Lee, Amy Schumer, and many more. And all of them, everyone is a much better person than you are because they support diversity. And now, for the first time, they're going to have some diversity. But it's just the beginning. Martha's Vineyard will need many, many more illegal aliens, tens of thousands more until the island is no longer majority white. Only then can it be a good place. Yet at the same time, the people who currently go to Martha's Vineyard are going to have to keep going there. They can't run away to somewhere else. That would be immoral. It would be, as Michelle Obama has told us, white flight. Now, massive demographic change will obviously make Martha's Vineyard a very different sort of place, but that's okay. Change is good. Anyone who fears change is racist. We know that for sure because they told us that for years. So where, you may ask, will all these new people live on such a small island? Simple. First, they can occupy Barack Obama's compound. There is no reason Obama needs that much space. Nobody needs that much space. You could probably fit a dozen immigrant families in Barack Obama's pool house and another 5 or 6 in the pantry. Keep going. Build a soccer field on the lawn, an outdoor goat barbecue by the back door, and bingo, you've got affordable housing. But it won't be enough. The Vineyard is going to need to construct shanty towns for all these new people, but we can't call them shanty towns. Obviously, that's demeaning. So we're going to call them townships, after Obama's favorite country, and then we're going to give them dignified names that suggest some kind of victory over adversity. Mandela, Cesar Chavezville, Kamala Apopolis. Now, inside each one, we'll put a plaque with that famous Emma Lazarus poem, just so that everybody knows that these are not ordinary favelas. These are moral victories. As the signs say in Martha's Vineyard to this day, no human is illegal, love is love. That's just science. But speaking of science, what will the environmental impact of all this new development be? That's a massive concern on Martha's Vineyard, and for good reason. But in this case, it's not a concern. None of these new townships will have running water or electricity. So by definition, they will be carbon neutral. It'll be part of the Green Revolution. Local law enforcement services won't be straight either because they won't be needed. None of these new arrivals will be bound by local laws. Why would they be? They ignored federal law to get here. There's no reason that they should have to observe the vineyards ordinances against, say, drunk driving or defecating in public. And just in case there are still vineyarders who think they have the right to protect what they own, think again, people. We refer you to the case of the fascist McCloskey family in St. Louis who once tried to defend what's theirs, and they got indicted for it, so that's not allowed. But we can't fully trust you. Somebody's going to have to go door to door to make sure that not one person on Martha's Vineyard keeps a gun at home, because self-defense can be tempting even for Democratic voters. There's a lot of change for the vineyard, and they're going to need to start work soon. The summer season begins on Memorial Day. So when Amy Schumer shows up to her place in June, she better be ready to find an illegal alien family using her bath towels. Yes, she will, and let's hope she doesn't complain about it. Because as Joe Biden often reminds us, illegal immigration is a gift.
Guess what? They're the reason why. The legal as well as undocumented are the reason why our society is functioning. The reason why our economy is growing. We don't talk about that. We stand up and act like it's a burden. It is not a burden. It's a gift.
Hear that? Hear that? Illegal immigration is not a burden. It's a gift, Dumbo. So Martha's Vineyard received an enormous gift last night. Think of it like a perpetual Christmas, but noisier. And you can't beat the timing, as Karine Jean-Pierre just reminded us today at the White House. It's Hispanic Heritage Month. Perfect! So roll with it, Martha's Vineyard. Things are about to change a lot for you, but that's okay. Radical destructive change is the essence of anti-racism. And as you've told us so many times, you support anti-racism. Lest we need to remind you. And in any case, pretty soon you'll have no memory of the way things were before. Martha's Vineyard will feel and look just like El Paso, and that will all seem normal to you. What's El Paso like, you wonder? Haven't been there lately? Okay. Well, here's some recent pictures.
I want to show you an exact look of what we're seeing out here. We're right next to the Greyhound bus station where, as we've been telling you for days now, migrants, mostly a large group of Venezuelans, have been using this area as a temporary camp and a home. Now take a look at this video from earlier this morning and overnight, where you can see migrants have set up sleeping arrangements on cardboard and mattresses in this same spot here outside the bus station. D'Agostino and other city leaders said their number one priority is to avoid people on the streets, but since CBP has been so overwhelmed with the large numbers coming in, they have been forced to release as such. As more and more people have been on the streets in recent days, sanitation and cleanliness have become a concern out here. We're not seeing any porta potties or temporary toilets, showers, or sinks, and as you can imagine, the smell is beginning to add up.
Oh, wow. Look, El Paso is Venezuelans too. And that's why tonight it's redolent of diversity, brimming with the gift of illegal immigration. That'll be Edgartown, Massachusetts, soon. But we can't stop there. Why would we? If we're really going to make Martha's Vineyard look like the world the people who vacation on Martha's Vineyard have created for the rest of us, we're going to need to import graffiti artists, armed robbers, and subway rapists, and the drug-addicted homeless community. Many, many of those. And their tents. Why should they be living outside your house when they can be camped on Barack Obama's $12 million lawn? That seems fair. Why isn't it fair? Well, unfortunately, we don't expect Obama to see it the same way. He is a racist, as we've established, and so apparently are his fellow liberals. They are outraged by the idea of illegal aliens near their island vacation homes. Before long, they'll be tweeting in solidarity with the Vineyard's white community. Hashtag, I stand with Martha's Vineyard. Little island emojis in their bios. Hilarious. That could actually happen, by the way, because in the end, liberals really do stand with Martha's Vineyard against everyone else. And honestly, on some level, we can kind of understand why. If we're being honest, we don't want to see Martha's Vineyard trashed. We're Americans. And Martha's Vineyard is a beautiful place. It's a sin to destroy beautiful things, always. Unfortunately, and this really is the point, Martha's Vineyard is one of a dwindling number of beautiful places left in our country. Martha's Vineyard is what most of America once was, not all that long ago. Small, socially cohesive, orderly, safe, with traditional human-centered architecture, and big stretches of nature unspoiled by industrial wind farms and dollar stores? The people who live in Martha's Vineyard now didn't build any of that. The people who did build it are long gone, along with the attitudes and values that made it possible. The people who live there now just came for the nostalgia, and all that's left, really, are the buildings and the beaches, but still, you'd hate to see them wrecked. On the other hand, at this point, we may have no choice. No sane country would allow millions of foreign nationals to walk across its borders illegally and then immediately give them government benefits in exchange for mocking our rule of law. No one would ever do that. It is suicide. Over time, it will destroy the United States. Everyone can see that, no matter what they say. But the people who vacation on Martha's Vineyard don't care. They are making this possible. They support it, they vote for it, they fund it. And they can do all of that because they are so insulated from the effects of Joe Biden's lunatic immigration policies that none of it matters to them. The country collapses. Big deal. They live on an island. But to the rest of us, it is a big deal. This is our country. We were born here. We plan to die here. We have nowhere else to go, and we don't want to live in a slum. Maybe Martha's Vineyard will finally understand. Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life. From Tucker Carlson tonight.
You don't have to sub to Fox.
You know, it's not always easy being on the outside, being a dissident, being scrutinized and judged, not having anybody tell you what to say or when to say it. Sometimes I wonder, what if I'd chosen an easier path, a more mainstream path? What if I worked at CNN?
I'd be a self-made man like Cooper, the son of a Vanderbilt. I'd feed you bullshit wrapped up in virtue, with a steady dose of white guilt. If the CIA wrote my headlines, then you could take them to the bank. Yeah, I would be just like Anderson Cooper, with a little less sugar in my tank. If I spoke to you with half the truth, if I just did what they told me to, if I never really meant a word I said, I'd ignore the things I can't explain. Tell racism and climate change, we get it wrong just 9 times out of 10. If I worked for CNN, if I worked for CNN, if I worked for CNN. With those dreamy baby
Oh man, Brian Stelter? Humpty Dumpty? No, sorry, Brian, you're not getting a job at InfoWars. We don't produce fake news.
Next September I turn 38. Don't look a day over 52. I'd be zooming like tubing, set myself up for the low blows. I'd be lying like lemon, irreplaceable like Cuomo. If I spoke to you with half the truth, if I just did what they told me to, if I never really meant a word I said, if I worked for I'd ignore the things I can't explain. Tell racism and climate change, we get it wrong just 9 times out of 10. If I worked for CNN, if I worked for CNN, if I worked for CNN. not foreseen it.
Sorry, Brian, we need to hurry, but we did hire Jim Saki. She's mine now.
Holy shit, that was pretty funny. Oh, did I hit the wrong button? There we did. Welcome back to Mountain High Time. It's now Sunday morning. It's Sunday morning. Mountain High Time now. Let's check in the chat. Nothing's happening. You guys are late night stoners. Bloody thirsty monsters. Shut up, Owl. Get in your hole. What's his name? Lee Han Ho? Did I say that right? Oh, the sticky icky's burning away. It's getting away. Anyway, let's get back to the news. For this second news update. It's not really that new, though. It's just stuff I found over the last week because I'm a stoner, and it took me a while to get to it. Oh, that last hit hurt. Let's see here. We need a new window. That's what we need. Here it is. Imagine this shit. So over in Beijing, the super track and trace police state continues with new innovative inventions to keep a brother down. Beijing bus drivers to have their emotions tracked by government using AI bracelets. Excuse me, I'm still choking on my weed still. There we go. All right. That's pretty fucking weird, though. They're going to be putting these in all the airports, and then the robot can come, taser you in the butt when you're getting too emotional to drive the bus, I guess. I mean, what the fuck? Bus drivers in Beijing will now have their emotions, blood pressure, exercise, sleep tracked by the government, who say it makes buses safer. But some have called it invasive. No. That's silly to think that the communist Chinese government would be invasive. I mean, didn't they weld people in their houses for fuck shtick? Fuck shtick. That's the secret word for tonight. You know what? I should hire Pee Wee Herman and all of those weird puppets and crap to yell every time I have the surprise special word. What's going on here? This is not showing us shit. Here we go. Navy says all UFO videos classified and releasing them? I harping on this. Some of these articles actually, I just thought, earned a repeat on Mountain High Time. You might have saw them covered on the Mayak show. But, yeah, check this out. All UFO videos classified, releasing them will harm national security. The Navy says it has more UFO videos it doesn't want to share. It doesn't want you to see them. The U.S. Navy says it's releasing any additional UFO videos would harm national security. And the cough button works out again. All right. They told a government transparency website, that's Black Vault, I think. Yeah. Anyway, that, they just can't share this shit with you guys because it would fuck up national security. So basically, if you've been paying attention, that is, Congress admitted UFOs or alien tech. The CIA, basically admitted that. And now they're saying, fuck off now. Now you can't know nothing about it. Nada. Because, it's classified. Maybe Trump should have decided it was, declassified before he left office. But he was tripping on some other stuff, I guess. YouTube CEO, Susan, however you say her name, I'm not even gonna, Wojcicki? I don't even know how to say it. Let's try it. Seriously, though. Wojcicki? I don't know. Anyway, the chick Susan, that's the CEO of, YouTube, who's terminated like 6 of my channels, banned I don't know how many videos for various different reasons, usually bullshit, says they're really, they want to help free speech as much as possible. Isn't that nice? CEO says as much free speech as we possibly can, which would be all of it. But, that's not going to happen because these are the most censoring fuck shticks on the planet. I'll probably get terminated just for saying that. Who knows? Rifles, tasers? Yeah, I brought this to you before. This is where all the COVID money went, to build a more, better armed, with more toys and more armored vehicles and more cops and more agents, to help you out with all of their new tasers and guns and jails and yay! I mean, just think about it. This over here. I ain't that good at math, but I think, that's like the hundreds, and then there's the 100,000, you get up here in the millions, and then the billions, and that's T right there. Trillions. God damn it, that's a lot of goddamn money. I wonder how come they sent all that shit over to Ukraine, and then people's living on the sidewalks everywhere. But $4 trillion was given to the government in tax collections. So that means they got a lot of goddamn money to do shit. But they're doing what they want with it. Meanwhile, Army tells soldiers to go on food stamps, you fucksticks. Because they don't give a fuck about the people that help them with their campaigns around the world. And they never have, really. I mean, several generations of veterans have been screwed in more ways than one. Several times. If it's not taking care of their medical needs the way that they should, it should be a 100% covered thing no matter what. If you got fucked up fighting for our government. But the truth is, not to be mean to anybody, but soldiers actually fight for banks. They just don't know it. A lot of them. Some of them do and don't give a fuck. Some of them didn't know that. Other people do it for other reasons. Not, judging. But these are banker wars that we do. So, isn't it fucked up? We're sending all this money to a proxy war, but we won't take care of our own people. I mean, what kind of company does that? Mostly all of them. It's fucked up. That's the world we live in. But soldiers should be the last people to feel the effects of crony capitalism and a bunch of fucksticks running the government. They gave their all. They signed a contract. They did their job. So they shouldn't have to be going to get food stamps while they're active duty, for fuck's sake. For fuck's sake? Yeah. They shouldn't be having to be fucking around for steak. And this is really ridiculous. I mean, think about it. $60 billion to kill other people, other places, and tell your own people, you know what? Let's go get some EBT, some food stamps. I don't know. You tell me. Is that fucked up or is that fucked up? I think that's a big fucking betrayal. I know if I signed a contract and I was promised to be taken care of, that's fucked up. I'd be upset if they told me to go get food stamps. But that's just me. And speaking of eating, allegedly, now I don't know, the validity of this science here, but just the gist of this article, it kind of makes sense, but in a way, I don't know. On the clock, how eating after certain time can increase your cancer risk by 25%. Scientists warn. Well, this is a stupid title because it isn't about what time it is. How the fuck does your stomach know what time it is? It's actually about, when you eat before you sleep. So, as long as you eat at least 2 hours or more before you go to sleep, this 25% increase of cancer just goes away. And what a simple thing. Are they telling people that, hey, maybe you shouldn't have those treats before bed. Maybe you shouldn't eat dinner and then go crash out. Such a simple thing for a big percentage if they're, correct in their claim here. I actually don't do that. I eat and I'm up for hours and hours after that, so I don't know. But if this is indeed truthful, maybe you should keep that in mind. I don't know. Here it is. Do not cook your chicken in NyQuil, you dumb fucksticks. I mean, I thought that would have been a no-brainer, but this is the latest phase. If you haven't seen it, the phase of idiocracy. Latest fad. That's what's going on. Do not cook your chicken in the NyQuil. CNN medical analyst warns after FDA response to bizarre online trend. Let's check it out on their CNN feed.
Doptelet?
This is a commercial.
Heavy on the tell. Elizabeth, let's talk about this new social media trend that is prompting the FDA to issue a serious warning about kids misusing over-the-counter drugs, including cooking chicken in NyQuil. What should parents know?
Did you ever think you would say that phrase, Anna, cooking chicken
I don't
in
get
NyQuil?
it. I don't get it.
It's apparently all the rage among some kids. It is a terrible...
And if they didn't know about it, CNN wanted to tell them. And now, if they didn't see that, now they saw me. And now they'll be like, can I robo-fry on NyQuil-laced chicken? I don't know. You probably can, but that seems just disgusting. Nasty. I wouldn't advise it.
Idea. When you cook a medicine, you are concentrating it. So if you cook chicken in NyQuil, and we have no idea how many people are doing it, but it's enough that the FDA is worried. When you cook NyQuil, you're concentrating it. So you take it out of the oven, you're inhaling these concentrations. It could hurt your lungs. If you eat the chicken, you're getting a concentrated version of the medication. You've really changed the medication by cooking it. It is a terrible idea. I am here to say unequivocally, do not cook your chicken in NyQuil.
It just sounds...
That's crazy that that's even a thing. So it makes me wonder, we found this new thing in the lab. Drumsticks, fuck sticks. Yep. We found this new thing in the lab. If we could just convince people to cook their chicken in NyQuil, we could do this. You ever think that maybe there's a think tank that's in charge of population reduction, and they literally just sit there in some office somewhere in some classified government location, and there's a little guy going, well, we did this in the 60s and 70s. We gave them heroin. I mean, that killed this percentage of people, and, well, it wasn't that, it kind of fell out of the fad, and not too many new addicts showed up, so they brought in cocaine, and then, there's some nerd in an office somewhere going, you know what, we can give them cocaine. And then cocaine gets around, everybody starts doing it. Some people OD, some people don't. Most people don't. And they just think, you know what, that ain't killing enough people. Let's, there's this guy in a lab, he came up with this new formula of crack cocaine. Mix a little baking soda, some vitamin B, I don't know the recipe, I'm just saying. And then they give the communities crack, and, that's not killing enough people. And they were doing targeted, groups of people, like specifically in inner city neighborhoods, giving them crack. Okay, that didn't work enough. How about this? We just spread methamphetamines everywhere, and then, you got that horrific tale of The Walking Dead. I mean, because that's what that is for people that never quit. They become The Walking Dead. I mean, it's just like the show. They're stealing, they're freaking out, they're out lurking in the bushes at night, tripping out on hallucinations, because they haven't slept in God knows how long. They don't eat, they barely drink, and, their body's just eating their flesh until they become a skeleton that doesn't know where they're at. Instead of fighting that epidemic, we'll just let that one go, and what's the new one? Fentanyl. Here, we'll just give people shit that'll just kill them the first fucking time, because all these other drugs just aren't killing people fast enough. I mean, we gave them GMOs, yada, 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 put the injection in the arm, bada bing, bada bang. I don't know, I'm just saying, there's all of these different seemingly soft kill weapons programs going on simultaneously in the world you live in. And NyQuil coated chicken just seems like another one. I mean, who comes up with this shit? Really? That's disgusting. And it turns the chicken all blue. I don't know where the picture went, but it was really gross looking. I mean, NyQuil's disgusting tasting in the first place. It's amazing that someone would want to eat it on their chicken. I mean, that's just, ugh. Oh, here it is. Look at it. Yeah. And the reason they're doing this is to get fucked up. It's just another one of all kinds of different bad things you can come up with to alter your perception. I think when I was a teenager, we called it robo-frying. Not too many people were doing this one. It was the Robitussin. And, you know, they would drink a bottle of that. Crazy shit. Anyway, let's move on. We talked about this on the last MyAct, but I just, keep going back to this idea that they're actually giving us, at least the first trial program of an iRobot style bullshit, right? Elon Musk faces skeptics as his robot comes out because people don't believe he's going to do it. But if he does, well, all kinds of fancy people pay for a walking, talking robot that can do remedial tasks, according to, Tesla and Elon Musk, that it can lift a certain weight. It's like a small, buddy or a cat girl sex partner. That's weird. I guess you can bolt on a vagina or, a penis, to whatever you guys like. I don't know. But think about that. So they're going to have this robot, and a lot of people are saying, nah, we'd never do that. We'd never do that. We'd never let a robot in our home. But, they don't mind driving a robot car and holding a robot in their back pocket everywhere they go. They don't mind having a robot on their table at home. They don't mind watching a robot. Yeah, it doesn't have fucking arms, but it is programming, and it is an intermediary between something and the general population that's run by AI. All of these inventions, it's all artificial intelligence. So you can have your conspiracy theories about the source of these technologies. Are they inventing them? Is it just a singularity where everybody was bound to invent them at our level of technology? Or maybe they pulled it up out of the sand? I mean, I don't know. But it looks like we're moving into that era. I think humans are going to reject these. It'll be just like another failed trinket unless they really are useful. Yeah, does it clean the toilet? Is it a toilet cleaning robot? Oh, no. James Ortiz is talking about the actual, maybe the robot toilet that scans your poop and tells you, sir, you are living an unhealthy lifestyle. I detect a large amount of protein in your diet and no alkali. You need to eat vegetables. I am sending your test results to your doctor. Your poop is bad. What's up, Connolingus? Connolingus. Excuse me. Anyway, it's going to become real. The real question is this AI going to be good or bad? I mean, in the way that will people push it into a position where it actually has power? Because at this point, it's not looking so cool, but they may be hiding the models of robotics and AI that they're actually, want to put out, because these are just all simple beta models of things that are really non-threatening. It's the first wave. Things always come in wave. They give you, well, that's not so bad. I could get used to that, I mean, think about it. People used to worry about people listening in on their rotary phone calls, and were worried that the government might sometime be listening on their phone calls, and it was a big deal. People didn't like that. You had to get warrants for it. It was a big deal to spy on somebody. But in the age of AI and cell phones, nobody gives a shit. It records everywhere you go. Some of them even record things you buy at the store, and all of this information is happening in the background of your phone, but you agreed to it. So you agreed to be spied to on these user agreements, and then these AIs have access to your data. All of it. All the time. If you're using one of these first waves of robotics, watches, tablets, phones, your car, your refrigerator, your fucking toilet. I mean, things are changing, whether you want to believe it or not. But anyway, super AI that is impossible to control is the worry. And could it secretly plot to destroy humanity? Well, it might not have to use robots. That might not be the way AI would attack. Maybe it would just shut off all the nuclear plants until they went critical, or turn off maybe chemical processing plants that need a human being to pay attention constantly so that it doesn't have an industrial accident. It is possible, but the same risk goes for other countries hacking it, or even our own country turning off or hacking it. Not saying they ever do false flags. I'm just saying. Anyway, let's move on. Are we really worried about AI? Or are we worried about biological weapons that, threat that's evolving, according to the experts at the Rand Corporation and other think tanks and tech moguls getting together to decide stuff about what might happen? But do you ever notice that when these people decide something might happen, it seems to miraculously happen a few years later? I'm not saying, but I'm saying. Tech advances leading to democratization of manufacturing capability. Is that some kind of... Let's look this word up. Maybe I'm misunderstanding the definition of this word. Before I start talking shit, let me just look this up. Here we go. The introduction of democratic system or democratic principles. No, I thought that's what it meant. So let's just go back here. In other words, the government's taken over this manufacturing capability of tech companies under the fear of biological weapons threat. Did I get that wrong? I don't think I did. Let's read it some more. The threat from biological weapons used by nations or terrorists is entering an era of potentially heightened risk, but the dimensions of the danger are not yet clear, a panel of experts said Friday. Excitedly, evidently. The event took place at the Rand Corp and involved two top House Intelligence Committee Republicans from Ohio and a panel of half a dozen experts. Republican Michael R. Turner, the committee's ranking member, described Friday's events as part of the committee's effort to engage academia and think tanks. Like I said, this is where all these fucked up ideas come from. Anyway. But aren't you guys feeling better and safe that these guys are looking into the threat of biological weapons? What was that? You missed. Oh. Night owls more likely to develop diabetes and heart disease than early birds, according to this shit. So, maybe you shouldn't be watching this late night show. You should go to bed because you might get diabetes or heart disease. Or maybe is this a new phenomenon or a long recorded one? Let's see. Staying up late can be fun. Researchers have found that night owls are more likely to develop type 2 diabetes or heart disease than people who get to bed and wake up early. That's weird. Didn't we just read an article that was pretty much saying you better eat early and go to bed? I think they're lying. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm a night owl. I'm not diabetic. But that doesn't mean shit. I don't know about this. I believe that whatever cycle you have, as long as you exercise, eat right, you shouldn't run into these problems, because I think this might have something to do with the recent increase in certain ailments, if you know what I'm talking about. I think you do. Outbreak of rare Ebola strain declared in Uganda. Oh shit. Hopefully it won't make it to the United States. Hopefully the current president won't say, you know what? Fly him to Florida, fly him to Texas, let him go stay in a place, You know, who cares? We'll just spray it out with the high pressure hose when he starts having bloody orifices leaking gel all over everything. Allsup's burritos are all night. Yeah, especially their badass green chili and cheese. That would be bombed right now. Allsup's burritos. Anyway, who says existing vaccines and treatments are unlikely to provide quick protection against the Sudan strain of Ebola? So, as long as our president doesn't, I was referring to previous presidents that just said, yeah, fuck it, let them in. They're positive? Oh yeah, bring them right, bring them in. It's okay, don't worry about it. What could go wrong? Don't worry about it though. This probably is not going to be happening much longer, as high-tech face masks can detect this virus, they claim, in 10 minutes and warn the wearer via an app that'll probably be inside your fucking robot, right? Your robot will be like, sir, you are COVID positive. You must report to the local authorities for the track and trace program. Beep. And then some guys come weld you in your home. Oh, wait, that's China. That'll never happen here. Ever. Hopefully. Biden to skip UN meeting because, well, he doesn't care about climate change that much. It's just, as long as the little people pay money for it, then it's important. Impotent. The racist history of the Democratic Party. Uh-oh. This is an article from Zero Hedge. It might be historical. Let's see. I'll judge myself. 1864 to 2020. Abraham Lincoln issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, which declared that all slaves in areas still in rebellion, January 1st, 1863, shall be thenceforward and forever free. This declaration did not have the weight of law. That's because, just like Russia annexing stuff, they just make up stuff and you call it the law. And, and if it doesn't go along with the law, then you change the law because it's just fucking made up. Right? Anyway, it didn't make permanently free slaves, even though that's his intention. But then when the White House voted on it, amendment on June 15th, 1864, it garnered 93 votes, 13 short of the 2/3 majority required for passage. The constitutional amendment to end slavery failed because only 4 Democrats broke ranks and voted for the amendment's favor. In other words, it was a Republican bill that they were trying to pass through the House, and it fell short because Democrats wouldn't vote for that. I mean, that didn't make sense, right? Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat president from 1913 to 1921. He was a segregationalist. Those people that thought everybody should go to different schools and use different water fountains and all that stuff. That was him, Woodrow Wilson. But people, they love that president. But anyway, what did he do? He was a segregationalist, and he had written in his history textbooks praising the Confederacy and the Ku Klux Klan. As president during World War I, he resegregated, I can't even talk, I'm so stoned. He resegregated the military services and some of the civil service. Why would he do that? That is racist. That is big time racist, but that's okay. He was a Democrat. He can still be a hero. You're supposed to forget this stuff. While housing discrimination has always existed, the FDR administration made housing discrimination against blacks federal government policy. He did this by constructing red line maps which prevented the government from purchasing mortgages in or near African American neighborhoods. Pretty much making sure that they tried to fuck them. And then everybody knows about the internment camps. And most people that know about history, they know about all of this stuff. They know about Robert Byrd and the Democrats and their KKK ties. And, you know, he didn't even die till, 2010? And Hillary Clinton said, oh, he was my mentor. And then she goes around calling everybody Nazis, homophobes, xenophobes, etc., etc. You're all fascists and you're racist. But my mentor is Larry Bird from the KKK. So, you know, wrap your head around that shit. And even Biden liked old Robert Byrd. They were buddies in the Democrat Party. And if you don't believe me, just Google it. Robert Byrd, Biden. You'll find some picture of them. Reconstruction Civil Rights Act. I mean, it goes on and on. On and on. Into the 70s, into the, you know, it just goes on and on. It's always been their side of history. And now, just a few generations later, they want to convince people that they are the party for everyone that's not whitey. I mean, that's basically their sales pitch now. The former KKK, or I guess they were always the Democrat Party. The KKK was just their military wing to fight against Republicans in the South. But you're not supposed to remember that. You say, well, that's a long time ago. And then you fast forward, you got these KKK dicks, these segregation dicks, and then you got the dicks that are running the country right now that we're all intertwined in these people that are ignoring their racist past, like Biden. He's got so many gaffes that are racist, but that's okay. You're not supposed to pay attention to history or the way things are. And here for some scary stuff, I was tripping on this. Faster in the past. New seafloor images of West Antarctic ice sheet up in understanding of the glacier retreat. And they get into partially how, you know, they don't really know how to predict it, basically, in here. So they just need to figure out a new way. But they don't know why, you know, this ice shelf is melting. And I was thinking, maybe it has something to do with this big fault line and volcanoes that are all over on this side. I don't know. Maybe this is the reason that these ice sheets heat up more than this side does, which is really cold over here, but it's warming up over here. And they want to convince you it has nothing to do with the geographical, lineup of stuff here that's all on this side that may or may not be heating up ice sheets and have its own, system of currents that's affected by this heated geology. They say it's not enough from stuff I read. I'm not an expert, but they say this isn't enough to explain the melt-off, and it's your fault because humans are bad. Humans are so bad that we're not going to the moon for a while. They're going to scrap the moon launch because of the storm, so they don't fuck that up. Did you know that AI message decoder can be based on bacteria growth? And the only reason I bring this up is because it basically says that an AI can read a message that transforms over time, still recognizing the growth, where they can basically take a picture like this at different times of the bacterial growth, and the bacterial growth is given a letter and programmed with a letter, and it grows every time. It's never the same picture. However, the AI can decipher which letter the bacterial growth is making, meaning that the AI might be suitable to read alien languages and things like that it could see patterns. And you can, also do this crackerjack, Da Vinci Code kind of decoder stuff. You could send any pattern of something hidden in these images, and you would have to know the set of information that you began with to be able to decode it, if that makes sense to you. So you can make a whole encryption system with this AI. The AI can recognize it, but nothing else. And it's totally random, although it's in a pattern. So they could just send all kinds of secret messages. Or maybe even communicate with the bacteria. What? Planetary scale heat wave discovered in Jupiter's atmosphere. It's getting hot. An unexpected heat wave of 700 degrees Celsius, extending 130,000 kilometers. 10 Earth diameters in Jupiter's atmosphere has been discovered. And you know what? Speaking of this, I'm about to go outside and see if I can't film the bands of Saturn if it's up in the night sky tonight, which I think it is. More genetic modification. Hey, you know what? If you got cancer, maybe you should let them inject you with a genetically modified herpes virus, which is supposed to deliver a 1-2 punch against advanced cancer. A new genetic engineered virus has delivered a 1-2 punch against advanced cancers in initial findings from phase 1 trial. Researchers found that the RP2, a modified version of the herpes simplex virus, showed signs of effectiveness in a quarter of patients with a range of advanced cancers. Patients on the trial had cancers including skin, esophageal, I don't know how to say it, head and neck cancer, and had exhausted their treatments, including by failing to respond to checkpoint inhibitor immunotherapy. Early findings presented in the 2022 European Society for Medical Oncology Congress suggested cancer-killing viruses could potentially offer hope to some patients where other forms of immunotherapy have not worked. So basically, they want to give you a herpes virus to cure your cancer. Now, it may or may not work. I don't know. But if it does work, I bet it conveniently takes a long time to go to market. If it doesn't really work, you'll probably get it. Did I say that out loud? Yeah. Well, because, in my opinion, if you have a $900 billion industry that involves treating a certain sickness, what is your motivation as a billion-dollar industry to solve said sickness? I don't know. I'm just saying. Think about it. Ancient Maya cities were dangerously contaminated with mercury. That may explain why they beheaded people and cut people up. And some of the other Mesoamericans may have been tripping balls too while their brain was destroyed from mercury. The cities of ancient Maya and Mesoamerica never failed to impress, but beneath the soil surface, an unexpected danger lurks there, mercury pollution. And it makes me wonder if it has something to do with the city of Teotihuacan, who has a big pool of mercury in it, kind of like the Chinese pyramid of the emperor, who also has like a little lake of mercury, which has always made me wonder if the mercury was put there as some kind of security system to keep people out. The people that would dig to find whatever was under it would either lose their mind or die from mercury poisoning. What a perfect security system. And if they didn't know the high-tech uses for the liquid mercury, I don't know why they were collecting it. Maybe because they were tripping balls. Well, let's see why they say in this article. In a review article in the Frontiers in Environmental Science, researchers conclude that this pollution isn't modern. It's due to the frequent use of mercury and mercury-containing products by the Maya of the Classic period between 250 and 1100 CE. This pollution is is so heavy that today it poses potential health hazards for unwary archaeologists. They're digging around in there, absorbing up mercury. Yay! Mercury pollution in the environment is usually found in contemporary urban areas and industrial landscapes. Discovering mercury buried deep in the soils and sediments in ancient Maya cities is difficult to explain until we begin to consider the archaeology of the region, which tells us that the Maya were using mercury for centuries. But where did they learn it? In Teotihuacan? Maybe. But think about some of the stuff. Is it possible that some of these ideas that they had were because they were toxified by mercury at the time? And think about growing. If they were growing food in these areas that had mercury in it, that couldn't have been good. That could not have been good. They don't even know what they were doing with it. I can tell you that. What were they doing with it? And why do we find it in these ancient cities? And did they learn this mercury idea from the Teotihuacans, who built the first city in the New World, according to archaeology? It was an unknown empire that must have predated the Olmec, unless it was the Olmec. And then you have the Maya, which started after the biggest city, the most oldest city they have in the Americas that we know of, at least of this kind, built in stone. Anyway, moving on. New report illustrates potential of precision genome editing in treating inherited retinal diseases. So they want to fix your eye with some GMO, some mRNA. But don't worry. If you read this article, it may say that, they can identify your mutation and they can just gene therapy it. But remember, genome editing and gene therapy is not this. Remember, they told us, they said, no, that's a vaccine. It's not this. It's not this technology. Look the other way. Look the other way. The plate boundary between Africa and the Iberian Peninsula could cause large tsunamis if it has an earthquake, but don't worry about it, because you live in the U.S. probably. If you live there, worry about it, I guess. Molecular detection platform provides new insights into gene medicine manufacturing. That's right. If you didn't notice, the future in medicine is gene editing, making alterations to the human genome. Wow, isn't that weird? Instead of doing what these monkeys did, which we should probably do, which was, this big old long word, if you can read that, the zoo pharma, man. We should be doing this because animals have figured out how to use grasses and other plants to fix their digestion and use medicine. The animal kingdom over and over shows examples of animals with either instinctual or learned behaviors that they use the forest and the forest products, the jungle, wherever they live, and they find these pharma, basically, but from nature, not from those dudes that want to, cut up and splice your genes. No thanks. Sorry. I'll stay a Homo sapien sapien. We might be going extinct and soon replaced by something else, but I'll go ahead and become an original species that I am, the admixture species that I am presently. I don't want to be changed into something else and then have future generations I may or may not have be completely new species designed in a lab. No, thank you. I'm just saying, maybe that's far-fetched. Mexico earthquake triggers desert tsunami 1,500 miles away in Death Valley. And it kind of shows you the power of some of these big earthquakes. You just imagine something on Earth like a 10 or an 11, if that's even possible. 9s, we've seen that. Like in Japan, moving everything over, like an entire landmass moved with just one earthquake. So imagine bigger stuff. I don't know what would cause that. And if that happens, is there a 10? Is there 11? I don't know. That would be horrible, wouldn't it? That's what they're all waiting on. The 10. Everybody keeps saying, eats the bugs. Eats the bugs. You gotta eat the bugs. I don't want to eat the bugs. And I brought up this point before, but maybe the reason they want us to keep poisoning and turn against the bugs is because stuff like ants are an important ecosystem engineer. They move dirt, They distribute seeds. They recycle organic matter. They're the garbage men of nature, and they clean up everything. And if you've ever been to a picnic or, left some food out on accident, you'll find out the little ants will surely take advantage of your folly there, and they will eat it all up and clean it up for you. But we want to poison them. We want to kill them. 20 quadrillion. That's 12 megatons of biomass. That's how many ants there are in the world. Did you ever just sit around and say how many ants there are? Well, there's 20 quadrillion of them. 12 megatons of biomass, more than all the wild birds and mammals taken together. In other words, they're a major portion of life on Earth, but they want you to eat them for some reason, and cut down all of the forest that they live in, and soak it with glyphosate and insecticides, herbicides, etc., etc. No thanks. That's not the world I want to live in. And we might become one of these creatures, the brain-shrinking mammals. Scientists unearth another, see, because there's others, brain-shrinking mammal. For some reason, these mammals have learned how to shrink their brain to stabilize their metabolism when it gets super cold and the food becomes rare. They literally just shrink their brain down to a smaller size. Now, it makes you wonder about their long-term intelligence, but they say that, their brain doesn't actually come back as big as it was before they do that. So it's kind of like an emergency, but they do it. So it'll shrink down like 4 times the size and then grow back 2 times the size back to whatever it was, if I read that right. Let's find it. That didn't sound right. Let's check our facts before we get sued by the Sandy Hook victims or something. Somewhere. It's in there. You could read it yourself. I make no claims. No, but they found out that their brains just shrink because they're starving and it's cold. They have extremely high metabolisms, year-round activity in these cold climates, so their tiny bodies are like turbocharged Porsche engines that burn through energy stores in a matter of hours. It was clear that shrinking energetically is whatever this is. Oh, tissue, costly tissue, such as brain, allows the animal to reduce their energetic needs. What if we could just do that? You start starving and you turn into an imbecile. And you're just like, cool, dude. At least I got weed. Did you ever wonder why monkeys are different colors when they're babies? Or why humans sometimes are light-haired when they're small and get dark hair when they are older? Matter of fact, this is a common phenomenon throughout the animal kingdom. Lions, many different cat species and deer species and antelope and different things have different colored children than the adult. And I always thought it was because, it'd be easy to see your young ones. But according to this article, there's a more brutal reason some primates are born with weird color, and it's because the males of the species, when taking over a group of, females and males, usually run off the adult males or beat them to death. And then the poor kids are killed so that the mother will come back into estrus and want to receive the new seed, the new DNA. What a weird tactic. But it's in primates. A lot of primates do that. So do cats and other animals. They kill the offspring of the other male so they can drop their load in there. So maybe that's what happened to the Neanderthal and some of these other ancient people is, when new groups of humans showed up, they killed off most of the other males. Who knows? Were they still acting this way? It seems to be very common in nature amongst other animals. Not saying humans would do that, but maybe. So basically, the theory is that their natal coat, which fades away after a few months, is specifically designed so that the new adults look at the child and know it's just a kid and don't beat it. That's what they're saying. I don't know. I don't know about that. Basically, they're too cute to beat up. But it still happens. So I guess it's not working that well. Weird. DHS. Can you believe that they're spending $700,000 to basically spy on mostly children in a attempt to find extremism in the video games? And if you've ever played video games, which later on I'll, play some video games and live stream it so you can just hear the shit talking and the things that people really say, even though you have to sign a user agreement not to use profane or offensive terms. But that's like half of what everyone does there. But, while homeless vets are on the streets and active duty members of the army are being told to get food stamps, they're spending $700,000 just to spy on little kids playing video games to see if they're extremists. Or these teenagers. There's a lot of middle-aged men who play it too, so I guess, those are the guys. Those average American folks that like to play video games. I guess they're extremists, It's really crazy. Maybe they are. You want to see something stupid? Here, let's go over here to, where was it? Colorado. Maybe the cops were stoned on this. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe the cops were stoned. It's the only explanation I could come up with why this happened here. But anyway, here, check out this video.
Ready to start eating healthier?
Yes, I am. But
Ka'Chava.
this is not the video
Ka'Chava
I
is
intended.
the world's
There we go.
Moments before a horrific crash, you can hear a train coming down these tracks
Boom.
in Weld County. Then an officer runs and the train smashes into the patrol car, pushing it down the tracks.
Holy shit. These are some
What led
dumb
up to this
fucking
started
cops.
minutes earlier.
They really
Officers
are.
were trying to stop a pickup truck for allegedly being involved in a road rage incident. Once the truck was pulled over, an officer can be seen pointing a service revolver. Moments later, a woman, Yareni Rios Gonzalez, is out of the truck.
Okay,
the
good.
20-year-old is
It's
then
all good
placed
so
in
far.
handcuffs.
Okay.
Everything in a second.
Officers tell her to get on her knees.
What's going on?
She's then placed in the back seat
Officer
of a Platteville
safety.
patrol car.
You know,
We're
put
told
her in the
Gonzalez
car.
was stopped for suspicion of felony menacing. Then
But
a
then they're
train
gonna go
whistle
look
can
through
be
her
heard.
shit.
An officer seen scrambling. Then the train hits the patrol car with Gonzalez in the back seat.
Because these dumb
Her attorney
fucks.
telling us today she has 9 broken ribs. She has head and leg injuries and broken teeth. Paul Wilkinson says Gonzalez was handcuffed in the back seat and tried to get out, but the doors were locked.
Well, of course they were. It's a fucking police car. Can you believe these fucking morons parked their patrol car on the fucking railroad, right? And then they put a person in it, and then they leave it on the railroad tracks. When any imbecile, any teenager, mostly almost everybody, I think, recognizes that you shouldn't park your car on the fucking railroad tracks. But that's okay. They're we'll just put you on there. What would happen if they killed them? Nothing. Their family would have got some money from the insurance company that the police have, so they don't have to pay out, all of the city's money because they're idiots. Idiots is what I'd call that. But think about this. I'm going to play this again. Boom! Look at that.
Moments before a horrific crash, you can hear
There
a
was-
train coming down these tracks.
There was a person in that. Literally, they just put this woman in there, and they're busy looking around through her shit. It's just crazy. And yeah, she's lucky she's not dead.
In Weld County. Then an officer runs and the train smashes into the patrol car, pushing it down the tracks. What led up to this started minutes earlier.
Conveniently, I watched a couple of these videos, and one of them, the lady's like, one of the cops is like, "Is that a train? Is that a train? No, that's just a tow truck. Don't worry about it." I'm sorry, they didn't really have the redneck accents. I'm putting that on them. My bad. That's not factual. But they were saying those stupid things. Hey, is that a tow truck? No, that's a tow truck. Don't worry about it. Then they just, bam! They just, "Is that a train? No, that's just a tow truck. Don't worry about it." Then they just, "Bam! Is that a train? No, that's a tow truck. Don't worry about it." Then they just, "Bam! Is that a tow truck? No, that's a tow truck. Don't worry about it." Then they just, "Bam!" that's scary, putting your life in the hands of some people. I'm just saying. That is terrifying. Ooh. Oh, here's you another. I think this is going to be the next one right here. I kind of agree with this article from Study Finds that I think it's ironic, actually. Let's see what this article says. Scientists warn of a new bat virus. Oh, sorry. A new cold originating from a bat. Hey, that's convenient. Didn't that just happen? Shit. I think that just happened. Didn't we just get a bat virus? I took some antibiotics. It's a virus. Legit. I'm just joking. I didn't do that. We got the dreaded Rona, and we just dealt with it for like a half a week or some shit. Really bad back pains. It didn't really mess with me respiratorily. And think about that. I mean, I smoke cigars, smoking weeds all day, put a little dab in here, 45. I run up the mountain and breathe hard the whole time, but I still do it. You'd think I might have some respiratory problems, but never happened. I don't know what's up with that. Evidently, people with really wrecked lungs or some of the first supposed strains did that. I don't know. I ain't a biologist or nothing, but look out for the new bat virus. Look at that. That's scary. Look at them fucking teeth right there. God damn, it's gonna bite you right in your fucking neck. Just kidding. This is a Russian bat. Think about it. Oh, we hate Russians now. So now we're gonna have a Russian bat virus. Some of these things, is the AI literally writing all of this? I mean, is the AI like this comedian learning machine somewhere that's just, it fancies itself with jokes and ironies? Because that's what it seems like, doesn't it? Look at this new Russian bat. Let's read about it. In the next pandemic on the horizon, scientists are warning of a new COVID-like virus called Costa? Is it the ghost? Costa 2. Originating from a Russian bat. It's believed to be capable of infecting humans and would be resistant to current medicines. I'm sorry, it's just funny. Let's move on. I'm not worried about the new bat virus. It might be. Is this the 1 or a 7 or 9 Chimera version? Who knows? Anyway, on European front, like I was talking about, that it seems like they're going to go ahead with their plan to totally wreck Europe in a WW3. You imagine that? Some of our children, if you're my age, some of your children in like 50 years are going to be telling their kids, if they're still around, yep, I did. I went over there in WW3 and they had blew up everything in Europe with some nukes and them biological weapons and whatnot. That was when I was in the ditch. That's when me and Rusty first realized we had feelings for each other. I'm sorry. Here we go. Let's move on. Coast Guard discharging the unvaccinated members despite Biden declaring that the pandemic is over, according to him. I don't know. They change their mind all the time. Where was I? Is that it? No, that's the idiots that left the lady on there. Did I skip something? I think I did. Oh yeah. Anyway, they're worried about this little conflict so much, the potential of WW3, that Poland begins handing out iodine pills on fears of Ukraine's nuclear plant meltdown. And think about it. Wouldn't that be just nice right there in all that wheat? I think you might have heard about this before as a theory a while back, before they started pushing the headlines that kind of say what we were predicting. And, maybe they won't. Maybe they won't pop off a nuke. And maybe these iodine pills are more about Putin saying he's not afraid to nuke. So I don't know. Do you have any of those in your go bag? I don't know. Coast Guard, that's messed up. So they're discharging everybody. Maybe the courts will rule in their favor, like they similarly did for some Air Force people. I don't know. There's a fight going on about that, and we'll see how that turns out. Anyway, in other totally unrelated news, report China paid U.S. lab up to $1 million for research, including military tech. Don't worry about it. We're just, we're selling stuff. You remember those planes that crashed in China, and then they kind of looked at them, went through them, checked them out, and then they returned them to us? It was really nice of them. I imagine there's totally zero espionage going on. Anyway, a security firm called Strider Technology published a report this week that said that China paid leading scientists at America's Los Alamos National Laboratory hefty sums of money to conduct research for the Chinese Communist government, including research with military applications that could threaten U.S. national security. Wow. That's weird. It's kind of like how the Chinese are buying up all the land around U.S. military bases. What a strange phenomenon. It's almost like they were preparing for a long-term plan or something. Nah. Anyway, California bans natural gas, becoming the first state in the United States to ban one of the most abundant, cheap ways to heat your home, cook your food, go camping, all kinds of shit. I know a lot of people use propane. No, it's propane and propane accessories. Anyway, banning natural gas furnaces and heaters. That means no more warm showers for you. Yeah. This cheap, effective, and widely available resource is banned. Welcome to communist California. I'm glad I don't live there, but I'm worrying, will it, come back to my state that decided it was also mostly blue? Evidently. No, I'm lying. It's only the cities with a few politicians, and supposedly the public is voting for them. I don't know. It's hard to believe. I'm just saying that either Republican or Democrat people, that there's that many people in the public actually paying attention to them, because it seems like the entire state voted red, or whatever you want to say, and only the county seats and the only small cities in New Mexico voted blue. So it's just like that almost everywhere in America. But maybe the Chinese do have a long-term plan, and it involves extraterrestrials. China said its giant Sky-Eye telescope may have picked up signs of alien civilizations, according to a report by the state-backed Science Technology Daily, which then apparently appeared to have deleted the report. So they got rid of it, but not before everybody read it, in which they said they received some suspicious frequencies or messages from some of the exoplanets that they were keeping their eye on. Not stars, but they admit it could be, some kind of interference or something. Not necessarily extraterrestrials, but it could be. I wonder why they backpedaled. Is this their Roswell? First they say that they got, alien signals, and then they say they didn't. Or they didn't say they didn't. They just removed it from the memory hole. It's gone. What about that? It's crazy. What's that say? They moved the line in Albuquerque and made it all blue. Yeah, they've been doing the rezoning and stuff to change the voting in several places. Escalating hurricane threat. Don't forget, if you guys live in Florida, prepare for an emergency. If you live in Georgia or Louisiana or Mississippi, Alabama, I don't think you guys are worried about it. I think it's Florida. It's going to hit right here. Maybe even Tampa. So if you're in this gray, Alabama, Mississippi, not really so much. But Georgia, you guys are just going to have a shitload of rain. But right here on the side, they might get a 3 or 4 right here around Tampa. Boom. That'll suck. Power out. Nancy Pelosi booed and heckled at New York City's Global Citizen Music Festival. So, you'd think that this would be kind of mostly lefty type people. But I couldn't talk about
As Speaker of the House, I am here to thank you for your dedication.
Nancy Pelosi. You heard it there. They were booing the shit out of her. It's not the only time either. Where was it over here? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about this one. You guys, he's never seen a vagina. Never seen a naked woman. They're making fun of gay Lindsey Graham. Making fun of his sexuality. Even though I thought you weren't allowed to say bad things about the LGBT community. Evidently, it just depends on who you are. But they're joking about him never seeing a vagina. Never seen a naked woman. I'm sure he probably has. If he decided in his life that he liked this or that, he probably seen them. Just saying. CIA, if I could say it. CIA doctor hit by Havana syndrome says he was in the disbelief as he suffered what he was investigating. And they admitted this was legit. Then they said it's all in their heads. But they admit we got all kinds of toys that can do this. You can put voices in people's heads. You can make them feel sick, nervous. You can just totally fuck with them. You can burn their skin. You can make them always irritated. We have these toys, so I don't even know why they pretend that it's like not happening. Makes you wonder.
The MoneyWise program is put together to
After
go out
this
into
ad.
communities and teach teens and young adults about financial literacy and help them feel more confident going forward with their financial lives.
So a new CNN special report will be taking a closer look at one of the most controversial health mysteries in recent years. CNN chief medical correspondent Dr. Sanjay Gupta investigates a cluster of unexplained concussion-like symptoms first reported among American officials and covert personnel in Cuba back in 2016. Sanjay spoke to the CIA's first investigator into the situation, Dr. Paul Andrews, who himself became a victim when he traveled to Havana to investigate. This is a preview.
When Andrews and his 2 colleagues landed in Havana in April of 2017, the incidents were still classified. Patients were told to not even discuss this with their own families.
We had a van from the embassy pick us up and take us to the hotel. I get into the room and I looked around. I hadn't seen this before. Between every set of rooms was a small door, and it was a service chase. It was unusual.
Did you think there was somebody in that space?
I don't know.
This is that service chase, potentially large enough for a person to stand inside.
I looked out the window. I was on a high floor, and I saw nothing out there that concerned me. There was no other building at a height that would have a direct ability to shine something in my room, say. I think I went to bed probably around 11:30. I slept in my jeans and a t-shirt in case I had to evacuate quickly. And about 4:56, 4:57.
Aw, poor him. They say it's real, then it's not real. Pro-Trump January 6th truth rally sees only dozens attend, according to this article. But I looked it up, and it was, you know, they like to do this thing where they'll catch somebody at a little event, and they do it both ways, and say, hey, look, there's 12 people there. It hasn't even started. They do that. It's just funny. I don't even know why that's there. I don't care. It's a miracle. Look, Chile could be the world's oldest living tree. This Gran Abuelo. If this thing will get out of my way. Check this out. It holds carbon for more than 4,000 years, they say. Let's see, how old is it exactly? The sample yielded about 2,400 years. It's possible ages, producing an astounding estimate of 5,484 years. What? No way. This Norway spruce thought to be 9,558 years old. Isn't that amazing that trees could possibly be that old? You think it's possible? 5,484 years? More than 600 years older than Methuselah in California. Wow. That's amazing, ain't it? What is this? Oh no. Empty shelves? No way. That would never happen in the USA. Be prepared. Yep. And what this was is I had other stories here, but it updated. So this is the new story. And that is bare shelves. The storm nears. You better buy some bread and some light bulbs. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, remember that discussion I was having to you about the robots? Don't worry about it. You could drive this robot right here. And this one's great. I don't think you can do it in the US because people tried it in their Tesla. And the law here says you have to be in control of your car. So they'll be giving you tickets and stuff. So you have to be at least sitting in the driver's seat awake. But according to these guys, this is stress-free. New fully self-driving Volkswagen allows you to work, eat, and sleep. This is cool. It also comes with an impressive laser security system, bulletproof glass for when you want to drive through the urban ghettos that are dangerous. And that way you could also go to the gun-free zones with your bulletproof bubbled robot car. That's the empty shelves in the UK too, huh? Wow. Yep, that tree was older than fuck sticks. Anyway, just imagine going down the road in your brand new robot. You could just eat and totally be carefree and let the robot take care of you. And then you can put Tesla's new Tesla bot and he could sit passenger while it jerks you off going 90. How about that? You'd love that, wouldn't you? And back to this. This is the world that we're going to. And people don't believe the robot AI takeover. But don't worry about it. You can just wear a little bracelet, maybe a little, pin microphone up in your ass. Maybe not. I don't know. You already carry the phone. I mean, we're basically there. And this is back to talking about the oldest known modern humans. And remember that. They were in Europe, but they're related to Native Americans now. Proving, full of Neanderthal blood, that we've been moving, conquering, colonizing, mixing, fucking, the whole bit. The whole time. So the next time they tell you you're really different than another human being, it might be true. But is it a bad thing? Probably not. Because we've been doing it all through man's history. But they want to split everybody up on skin tone. What a weird world we live in, right? Anyway, thanks for watching. That's all I got for Mountain High Time. And welcome to your Tuesday morning. This has been the sound of an asshole going backwards through a caterpillar at 70 miles an hour. When it hit your windshield. Anyway, peace out. I'm stoned. I hope you are. This has been Mountain High Time.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Wake me up when September ends. 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 Summer has come and passed. The innocent can never last.